Good evening to all. Welcome to this panel of success cases of startups. We have amazing people who are going to be with us. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Cristina. Thank you, José and Gerard, because you represent this situation. You are great prescriptors of the alumni network and all of the cybersecurity ecosystem of Spain. The main objective of this panel is to be motivating and that it inspires to all of the entrepreneurs and the audience. On the first hand, you're going to have recommendations and tips and tricks and also key elements. It's going to be clear, fast for you, for any other startup, and we're going to go deep to the point. So I hope you find this really interesting, that you obtain new perspective that may help you in your way, or for the ones who are still thinking about this, that you gather the necessary elements to impulse the competitiveness on the sector and the industry through the new situations or through the creations of new cybersecurity startups. Do you know the difference between an intelligent person and a wise person? The wise person is the one that learns from its mistakes and experiences, and the wise one is the one that learns from the mistakes of the others. So I hope that with this panel you become even more wise and that it helps you with the development of your startups. We only have 30 minutes, so the first block, each one of you will transmit in 3 minutes by alphabetical orders the contexts, milestones, and cases. And then in the late 15 minutes, we are going to do the roundtable questions and answers. I think this is very interesting also for the audience. So we will start by Cristina Bentúe, please. Good evening. It's amazing for being here with you. Every entrepreneur has a story, and my story starts with the accelerator of the INCIBE, because we were 2 partners with a beta product and a customers, and after the accelerators we finished with a business plan. We learned how to do a pitch. We had a structure, we visioned all of these aspects of the company, because you forget because you're focused on the products. Then we got a prize that helped us at the beginning. These euros were really, really welcomed. And then we also found a lot of challenges like auto-funding, the image of the brand, and how to telesell. We are still working on this last one. The COVID has standardized this model of business. After in the INCIBE, I met Swan Lab in one of these INCIBEs, and we did the seed round, which multiplied by 3 our staff in 2 years. And now we are in the moment in which we have just closed the A with Paladin Capital. And Paladin, we met them in a Summer Investor Day in Luxembourg, organized by the EXO, the European Cybersecurity Exposition. I really advise you to roll into this, and basically this is me, and thank you very much for your vision, your mission, and your actions. Thank you, Cristina. Last piece of advice, it's very nice. The EXO, it's very, very into the topic, so you must leverage all of the opportunities. The system still, it's not really homogenic, but it's very nice to get these opportunities and leverage them. So Daniela? Well, thank you for inviting me, especially because I am country manager of Cymulate for Spain and also Latin America and Portugal. And well, you will say Cymulate, it's an enterprise from Israel, but it's been more than 3 years now that we are in the Iberian area. They gave me the opportunity to be working with them because the companies from Israel, first they tried to go to United States or other countries in Europe, but in this case they gave me the opportunity in a very early stage phase. So I think I'm the employee number 10 of the company. Now we are 80 people. And truth is that in these 3 last years, we have grown so much in just in 1 year from the founding of the enterprise and some customers in Israel. I must say that truth is it's been a success case. Of course, in the market, they wanted to invest in Spain, but Spain has been a success case, and this opened a lot of doors for us. And then we could hop onto South American market, and this has developed internationally for us and also at a European level. So I have a lot to say, a lot to give, because at the end I can say it's a kind of a Spanish startup. I have lived the same process. That means opening to the market, making the brand to be known, grow as a team. The only exception would be that we already came in a bit more solid way when it comes to funding, because the ecosystem in Israel can allow you to achieve investors in a faster way. But I will tell you more about this, so thank you. Thank you, Daniela. I think you are a good point of view, a different point of view to this Spanish point of view of the startups, because we need the competition, and it's true that you know the system and the ecosystem, so it's important for you to be here to answer some questions. Now, Gerard. Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me, not to the event, but also for the help that you have provided to us in Blueliv. Rather than startups, we can be called skilled apps. We are the senior of the people who are here. We've been for more than 13 years, and I hope we can help other entrepreneurs. We are a cybersecurity company. We were born here in Spain. We started not as a product, a cybersecurity product. Daniel Solis, the founder, he started without seeking for external foundation. And we are going to prototype technologies to help other companies from the outside to the inside, because we are in the cyber intelligence industry, and we're going to find external threats so that they are more protected and safer, or maybe that they realize that they are already being attacked without knowing. So these prototypes that we will talk about later, how important it is to get these prototypes in the market and know the needs. We got the first customers and the attention of the first investors, which was in the 2013. And we got this investment from Kibo and Telefónica, and this money allowed us to change as a company to be a services and products and focus on products, and it helps us in our growth. Now we have expanded. We are in 35 countries, in more than 150 customers. In startup models, they all think it's grow, 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 and expand, and more or less it is this way, and with an international and national reconnaissance in our market. We have several partners and also references, which make us to be really happy from our progress and future. I think we will go deeper later in how did you do through this, through your story, which is key for other entrepreneurs. Later, José. Well, first of all, as my colleagues, thank you for the opportunity, because I really hope that this kind of opportunities inspire other entrepreneurs as us. My story starts at university. IronChip is a 4-year-old enterprise, and we started sharing services. We didn't start as a product company. I think this is very important, because with the person who I founded this, which is Julen, we had several tests to do this. At the beginning, we didn't know what the market was needing. So from the first project, in which with a lot of hard work from an investment platform from the United States, there we achieved to know the needs of our customers. And from there, we created our product. And well, I think even if it's a tough situation and process, I think it's very nice because it brings success at the end. Despite all of the uncertainty of this pandemic, we were able to close this seed process from our new partners, EASO and Everready. They are really good partners and they are helping a lot in this situation, and we have multiplied by 4 our staff. We got a lot of customers taking an account that we started with 0. And I think all of the experience that we can bring from this journey, from the investment side and all of the ups and downs from this adventure, I think they are valuable for the others and others can be inspired by our story. You are a young team, but you're really prepared. So now the second block we're going to talk about, it's the questions and answers. So we will be talking in the same order and we will talk about the context of the pandemic, which has a high emotional impact, and this affects to the decisions, sometimes mistaken. So these pieces of advice can make people feel better and more comfortable. So the question for Cristina, when it comes to customer growth, I see that you buy via online to big customers, global number ones in New York, Paris, now in England and in USA. This, the COVID, is a change in the operational models, right? In the new processes of a relation with the customer. Could you please explain a little bit more on this? How did you achieve this and which change it meant with this new relation of these customers who are so far away from you? Well, remotely selling to enterprises is difficult in the States, in big multinationals. And also it's a kind of a miracle when you are a small enterprise in Huesca. But everything has a reason, and the pieces of advice I can give is the first thing is that you have to build up a credibility in this competitive sector. So how to do this brand image? In a technological way, being the head of everything. So be the best in a really specific thing, in a very specific and small niche. Be the best ones. So that everybody who is suffering this problem has to come to you. Then we will have to be internalized from the stage 1. So that your web page, they don't know that you are a startup, that you're in Spain, you just live in internet, there's no frontiers. Then do a kind of boutique sign. The worst thing is that you lose a customer for a startup. You need to take care of your customers. So you need to be a boutique, you need to be something exquisite for them. Then you need to have partners. I think Daniela it's also going to talk about this, and also achieve references from the customers that you have. Get these references so you can publish them. And also I recommend to go to accelerators. We went to the one of the INCIBE. They put us in contact with investors and showed us some aspects of the enterprise which are not products. And then we inscribed to the accelerator in London, which is specialized in cybersecurity. Inscribe yourselves to all of the accelerators that you can see. And also take the structure like if you were going to grow a lot. So you need to have a strong structure. So the pandemic has not affected to our business. Then our ideal customer is the financials, always the bank wins. Then it's a collaborative platform that substitutes meetings, in-person meetings with analysts of security. So the pandemic has forced us to get force on these platforms. And we were in the round of investments when the COVID happened, and we were afraid of losing these people and losing our customers, and we're not valuing what we were doing, but they didn't. Thank you, Cristina. I get the importance of these tools, the processes that will allow you this boutique, give this boutique attention to your customers and to do a more automatic follow-up and tracking in a more efficient way. Exactly, because the thing is, these startups, we can give a special, focused and centered service. So we must be centered on this. IBM doesn't distinguish their customers, but we know their names and surnames. So you don't have to choose between personalizing and tailoring and also automation. You can have both things. Well, now, Daniela, when it comes to positioning and international strategy, we were talking about how important it is to have your partners in this growth in the interesting markets for the Spanish markets when it comes to language affinity or even the European framework in which we find ourselves. So we can leverage all of these opportunities in these digital ecosystems and specifically in cybersecurity. So under your experience, which models do you think they are attractive for a startup who is entering in the European market? Which networks or which strategies do you consider they are the most proper one? Well, basically, what I can tell you is my experience. We were a new enterprise. We were very young, very new. It's true that technology was very attractive when we presented this, but it was new. With a new technology also, the name was put by Werner, the regional tax simulation in 2017, which is when we arrived here and when I started in Spain. So it is difficult for me because you talk to the enterprises and you're going to tell them something that they don't know. So in this case, it was key and it helped us a lot. So we searched strategic allies like partners that supported us from the beginning. They saw the value that we could give with our technology, and from their hands we reached enterprises, because if not, it will be very difficult. And something that really shocked for me from Spain, it was having these allies, so that in general, when I said in Israel we are searching for more mature markets or the early adopters, in which the enterprises are really open to this kind of technologies, and even a startup, we were new, we were only 1 year old. And it has been key for us for the development of the market in Spain. Proudly, I can say we have many enterprises from the IBEX, which are our customers, and this has opened really big doors and gates in South America. And many of these partners, at the end, they are partners which are also in Europe. I don't want to give names, but I know you know many partners. The world is globalized and they don't work only in Spain but in the rest of Europe. So in this sense, it is a channel that also allowed us to reach to enterprises. For example, now we have in UK, also in Italy, and grow in a really fast way, and something like this is happening in the States. So advice is to search these strategic partners, because sometimes it's very difficult to open the market you by yourself when people don't know you. Thank you, Daniela. Two things that you have talked about is to know the channel. Each model has a different way of working. Not everything fits for everybody. And secondly, the early adopters, the best presentation for you is to have a customer in that market, because maybe if you only have a customer in another market, they won't trust that. So not waste your time, I'd search for the first customer that wants to adopt that technology and position as leaders in this country. The following question for Gerard: in the profitable use of this financing, I think Blueliv, it's a very important case, taking into account that what they are searching for, these fundings, it's that there's a return of this investment. So how can you get this back? Adding value. So in this COVID time, where the risk is bigger, you have to adopt different strategies with the diversification at a geographical and sector level. What proposals can you transmit to us to use these investment funds which apply to this plan that entails less risks to the investors? Well, depends on each case, but I can explain what works for us, and I could apply to many of the entrepreneurs in this industry of cybersecurity. At the end, you just have to think that the venture capital, venture angels, they are caught like that because they invest in risk. So they are assuming in a risk when they invest in enterprises like us. So it depends on the stage in which your company is. You must invest the money they are giving to you because they want a return by 5-6 years more or less in the strong points to the ones you wanted that money. It's not like you ask the money and then you will see what you do with it. So in our case, for example, when we didn't have this COVID situation, the first thing they valued when funding ourselves, they saw that we had several customers, so it was a product or a prototype which was validated in the market. It was innovative. It was not something that already existed, and there were other 20 copies in this growing market in which they thought, and it was like this, it will grow really fast. So this called their attention and their interest, and they thought that we could take that money to multiply the value. So that's what we did. We were able to consolidate this technology. This happened in 2013, by the end of this year. And then we were able to improve the product, to grow internationally, and convince a second investor that we needed more money, because at the end the investor says, okay, grow, and demonstrate me that the market is going to be consolidated, you are having a bigger growth, and that you can apply this in other markets. Today, with COVID, has changed a little bit. And the answer to what Ignacio said, something that has helped us, and because we had this side, is to diversify the customers in an international and also sectorial way. So we have customers in finance, in critical structures, business, governments. We have customers from Chile, Hong Kong, Middle West. So when one sector had been affected by COVID, we were lucky that there was other than no. So this has helped that the other part went faster. And this is something that you must take in account when you are not big enough, when you have just started to consolidate your money in your strong point and be less dependent on just one customer in just one sector or just one regional area. Very clear, Gerard. So adapted to different kinds of enterprises, not the same trajectory that has just started from a different one. So you don't have to be all of the eggs in the same nest, just in case. It also depends on the timing in which you find yourself. So following question for José. This related to management of talent. It is clear that you have had a necessity of acquiring talent. and also a directive team that can give you an answer to the future. And how did you manage, or how are you managing and retaining this talent in this moment, which is so complicated? There's not a personal relation, it has to be also in a remote way. So the way you present it, it looks like a challenge, but we have had 2 challenges in this enterprise this year. We have closed this financing fund this year. At the beginning of this year, we were only 4. So when you're only 4, it looks like a group of friends. You just share the tasks and you're in contact with these people, so it's very easy to coordinate and to make the enterprise to growth. But at the end of this funding round, we had to create more things. We knew that we wanted to get this talent, to retain them, and also create the enterprise structure, because when we started to be more people, it's difficult to align all of the people to walk in the same way, and that's why you have to have your objectives very clear. Here is where I think that this COVID pandemic has been bad at one point, because obviously hiring and interviews and personal treatments is very difficult to cope with this. We did a kind of a launch when we were 10 members in the enterprise, and when they arrived, many people from the enterprise, they didn't know each other, and in this moment we met, we saw our faces, and then it was better. For us, it's necessary to be clear on the objectives, the departments, and to move these tasks to the team which are completely aligned with the objectives. So at the end, with this big growth, it's very difficult to align all of the works of your employees and all of the people of the team with the goals of the enterprise. And specifically, this way of hiring and organizing the enterprises has made us focus better in the job we have to do. So for me, the message I want to transmit is that despite it's been something difficult, that has made compulsory to do the things this way, and this is the way that it really works. Because each month we see that we are conscious on how far or how close we are to these objectives, and we are completely aligned, all of the people in this staff moving in the same way. And when retaining this talent, I think many times we have this kind of old-fashioned thought that the only important thing is the salary and the timetable, but I think it's more important the conditions of the work. And I refer to this to give them an environment in which they feel part of the team, they can transmit their opinion in a free way without being judged. And from all of these ideas, then we get the real and true innovation, because one of the biggest breaks with this social distancing is that this innovation, it still flows like a river in the enterprise, and at the end all of the members of the team, they can still put their drop of water, so we end up as a team. So this is a summary of the adventure. Thank you very much, José. You are true inspiration for other entrepreneurs, so I encourage to those of you who want to work in your enterprise to contact you, because it will be even fun to work together. A question for all of you. What indicators, in the previous session we had this reverse speech of investors, so as you have talked from different levels, what indicators do you think that it's been fundamental for you for convincing the investor? Well, for example, somebody said, I need an MVP, I need a strong team, or I need an investor tech, or I need you to show me the attraction because you're in 5 countries. So, how did you convince the investor?
Yo lo primero que creo es que se miran mucho
I think the team to be able to continue with the project. So we always think about the product, and for them it's the market and the team. So I completely agree. For us, the experience told us it's been similar. When we have received this investment round, maybe we didn't have customers, but we had other two strong things. A differential value proposal linked to a problem in the business. We, for example, changed the passwords with more safer factors, and you must take into account the passwords are the conditions, the elements of 5 out of 6 attacks. So they must see a motivated team, a team that has experience in the sector in which they are trying to enter, and a team in which you see a union, a cohesion that bit by bit is going to grow. And this is something that at a personal level it's a key factor, and the investors, they get this, they understand this. So they want a team that even if we get a crisis like this one, they are able to come up with the work. I completely agree. Team is the most important thing, because I show a model, I show how I see the market, and then the COVID comes. If the team is good, the team can maybe modify the way they adapt themselves, so that's what the investors are looking for. In our experience, the bigger, the faster they want to go, they are centered in numbers, they want you to grow, whereas as enterprise, the chunk rate, the global revenue, the new sales, the average values. So these metrics, once you are big, then you have demonstrated you have a product, you have a market, and that you are there to convince investors of the second and third round. Then they put the eye on your metrics, on your growth metrics. But always the team is key. The product also that fits with the needs, and that you can adapt yourself, and that you are a leader, and they value this, of course. Ignacio, want to give a different point of view, because my CEO was the one in charge of these things. So I think there's something very interesting. I have collaborated with INCIBE from the start. Ignacio knows we've done a lot of effort to generating this ecosystem in Spain, even until they got the accelerator. So the best piece of advice I can give to entrepreneurs when it comes to this, it's the other way around, is to search the smart money, to search for investors that they can choose them, and that they are investors that they give value to their business, not just money for money. But in this case, I think Cristina is saying yes, it is this way, but for sure the rest of you know. And at the end, having this is also strategic, having this investor. It will give you the money, but it's not only about the money. And the other thing is to grab the money that you don't need. Don't run in circles in this matter. So I think you need to be conscious that it's very intelligent from the side of the entrepreneurs to make the business grow and depend a little bit less on the investments. I don't know if you would agree on this or not. Maybe we have to do another round of speeches. So that's my piece of advice. Very good pieces of advice. Thank you so much. I think the best talent is the entrepreneur talent. So now you have in Spain a really big opportunity, because the moments of crisis is in which the entrepreneurs, you give the best of yourselves. I wanted you to finish with a sentence. So in this case of crisis, what would you recommend to the entrepreneur to face this situation? I would say this English sentence, fake it till you make it. So towards this challenge of the brand image or lack of image, you have to show an image of that you're big. Because if you want to introduce yourself in a market of the United States, in which we all want to be there, and it's a big market, so you cannot be humble here. You must be big and try to show that you're big. So try to sell yourself. For example, we are working in a really big place, but we started in a co-working space of just 60 square meters. So that's my advice. What I would say, and I think what we feel entrepreneurs is that not to be afraid. In the crisis moments bring a lot of opportunities, and many success projects have arisen from the worst moments. This is a difficult moment, but there's lots of opportunities to continue with businesses. As long as we have problems, we will be able to find solutions. Thank you all. We opened in the web the legal requirements, so if you want to read this, to be able to prepare your next initiatives. Thank you very much and good luck.